Hello, thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this particular demo, I want to show you how you and your team can start powering through your calls at a rate of 60 to 80 dials an hour. You see, the Phone Burner app for Salesforce allows you to take a list of records from Salesforce and initiate what we call a dial session. And during that dial session, you can be hyper-focused on the records that you're calling so that you can instantly drop a voicemail if they don't answer the phone. You don't have to stay on the line, wait for the beep, and then wear your voice out. You just click a button, and boom, you're off to the next call. Now, if you're calling somebody and they don't answer, it doesn't go to voicemail, just click the no answer button. And of course, if somebody does answer, you're just going to talk to them like you would anyone else. No pause, no delay, no awkward silence. Just start talking to them. And at some point, you're going to go ahead and log that as a live answer. You're going to end the call when you're done talking to them. And then you're going to be able to set the call outcome once you've made any updates that you need to on that record. So let's say, for example, I wanted to update this contact's rating. So I can go ahead and edit that field, choose that rating, and save it. Once I save it, it is saved in Salesforce. Now, what if I needed to create a follow-up task for this contact? I just click on the Create Follow-Up Task button here, and I can create a new follow-up task. Once I've made my updates, hit Save, and now that activity is going to be logged in Salesforce. As I'm making my calls through Phone Burner, if I'm calling people that have been in my database for a while, I may want to go to my Call History tab to review any past calls that I've logged on this record. Now, of course, this is a new record, so I don't have any call history except for that activity that I created in the future. I can also review any past notes that I've added to this contact record. Of course, once again, this is a record that is new, so there is no note activity on this record. Now, after a live call, I might want to add some personal notes about this call. So I can create a new note. Once I've updated my note, I can go ahead and save it. Now, finally, I want to point out that all of these dispositions, these buttons across the bottom of the screen, are fully customizable. You can create as many buttons as you want or need. And every time you click on one of these dispositions, Phone Burner will then log that call activity back to Salesforce. So you won't have to manually log call activity back to Salesforce anymore. It'll be automatic on disposition. Another thing that these buttons can do is trigger an email. You may have noticed that as I've been making these calls, the total number of emails has been going up. You see, every disposition can potentially send an email. Some of these dispositions, like I mentioned earlier, can trigger a voicemail. So for example, if I'm calling this contact and I click the English Standard Voicemail button, not only is the system going to stay on the line, wait for the beep, and then play my message, it can also trigger an email. So now that you've seen how the dialer works, let's talk about how this integrates in Salesforce. So I'm going to go ahead and end this dial session, and let's close this window. Let's jump back over to Salesforce. Once you install the Phone Burner app in Salesforce, you'll have a new homepage that you can activate for your team members. This homepage comes with a few different views pre-installed on it so that your team members can come in here, select records, and begin a dial session right from this homepage. We even have some call cadences that you can work with. So we got a day one call cadence that includes all of your new leads that haven't been called yet using Phone Burner. We've got a day three call cadence that shows you a list of all of your contacts that have been called once, but it's been a day or two since they were last called. And then a few others to go along with this. Now, these lists are all based off of views from the leads object, so you can edit those if you want. Also on this homepage is a dashboard that contains several reports that will give you a bird's eye view of the activity that you and your team are doing in Phone Burner. In fact, let's refresh this. And there you go. You can see it's now updated with my new call activity. So that's the home page. Let's jump over to the leads object. From the leads object, here you can see all my open leads. And from here, I want to show you 3 fields that will come pre-installed with the Phone Burner app. One of those fields is the number of attempted calls. Here you can see the total number of times I've called each of these contacts. The last attempt field will show you the date and time of your last phone call to that contact. And the last disposition field will show you the outcome of the last call. And of course, this is based off the disposition, and those dispositions are 100% customizable by you. From any list view in Salesforce, you'll be able to select those records and initiate a phone burner dial session, at which point we would then queue up those contacts, or in this case, leads, to be called. Now let's jump over to the contacts object. The contacts object, just like the leads object, allows you to choose a list that you want to call, select those records, and begin a phone burner dial session. Now, in addition to dialing from leads and contacts, you can also launch a dial session from opportunities. Now, when calling from the opportunities object, you actually have two options. You can either dial the contact that's related to the opportunity, or you can dial the opportunity record itself. You can also initiate a dial session from the cases object. From the cases object, you can select those records and begin a phone burner dial session to the case record itself, or again to the contact record. Now, in addition to that, you have the ability to also initiate a dial session from a custom object. If you've created custom objects in your own Salesforce org, you can add the option to launch a phone burner dial session to the records on that object directly. And we provide tools to make it really easy to help you add this option directly to your custom objects. So anyway, that is a quick little demo / overview of how Phone Burner can help you and your team start to get more done in less time using the power of Phone Burner. And at this point, we have just scratched the surface on what Phone Burner can do to help your team. So take a moment right now to schedule a demo with our sales team so that they can answer your questions and help you get set up with a free trial of Phone Burner. Thanks again, and happy dialing.